Welcome back. The victory in the elections by the AKP is seen as a boost for Turkey's European aspirations. But EU foreign ministers have urged Prime Minister Erdogan to press on with political reforms and abide by what they call European values. Back in October 2005, Turkey started talks to join the EU, but they were partially suspended last year after Ankara refused to agree to open ports to Cyprus, a country it does not recognize. Last month, France refused to allow discussions on economic and monetary union, saying this implied that Ankara was on track to join the EU. New French President Nicolas Sarkozy is fiercely opposed to Turkey entering the Union. But British Foreign Secretary David Miliband called on the European Union to reach out to Turkey following the election to ensure it kept to Western-minded reforms.
I think it's very important that across Europe we reach out to the new government in Turkey when it's formed. A stable and secure political situation in Turkey is massively in our interest, and we'll certainly want to be taking forward our links with this very, very important country.
We're joined again by our guests in Ankara, Adibe Sözen, a Deputy Chairwoman for the Justice and Development Party. In Istanbul, Hasan Koni, a political science professor at Istanbul University. And in Brussels, Amanda Akçakoca, a columnist and a policy analyst at European Policy Centre. Amanda Akçakoca, what if Turkey's EU membership chances are further dented? Where do you see the relationship between the EU and Turkey going from here?
Well, I would say at the moment the relationship with Turkey and the EU is not as good as it could be for plenty of different reasons. I mean, since October 2005 and even before that, I think there's been a lot of differentiation between EU member states on what the eventual goal should be. I mean, originally the EU had said it should be full membership, that was the goal, but between then and now a number of member states have started talking about privileged partnership, etc., which has eroded the trust between Turkey and the European Union. Obviously the problems on Cyprus haven't helped. I mean, the EU has totally failed to keep its promises that it made regarding the lifting of isolation of Turkish Cypriots, which resulted in Turkey refusing to open its ports, etc., to the Greek Cypriots. That situation goes on, and now with the in office of President Sarkozy, who, as you already said, is opposed to Turkish accession, and at the moment Mr. Sarkozy is very bullish. He's almost like a bull in a china shop on a whole load of EU policies. Other EU leaders really need to take stock of the situation. They need to show a consensus towards Turkey and begin to recommit themselves to what they agreed in October 2005. Otherwise things could get extremely sticky, because at the same time it's very difficult to try and get Turkey to continue to make the reforms for EU membership if the EU just can't promise the actual membership at the end of the day.
And something that's a central theme is the issue of how Turkey deals with its Kurdish population. Adibe Sözen in Ankara, what's the significance, do you think, of 24 independent Kurdish candidates winning seats in parliament? Is that a good thing?
And most of them not Kurdish, and some of them Turkish. And of course, and if you look at the Turkish population, you can find many, Kurdish people all over the country, all over the Turkey, each state. And that's why we cannot say maybe they can give their problems and easily to the parliament. It's going to be helpful to understand their problem, but I would like to say, and there is no district about the Kurdish population. If you look at the Turkish states, and you can find many Kurdish population in each state. That's why we are very mixed. We cannot isolate the Kurdish population, and if the Kurdish independent parliaments and they would like to solve their problems, and they have to see Turkey's reality first of all.
Okay, well, let me pose this. Let me pose this to Dr. Hasan Koni. Sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Sözen. Dr. Koni, do you think peace with the PKK is achievable, or is an invasion of northern Iraq a possibility?
Well, now, after this election, the Kurds are observed within the Turkish political system. So this is a good thing. A good political system should absorb the demands coming from its people. So when these demands are absorbed and can be solved within the decision-making body, I hope there will be no terrorism, because terrorism is a sort of negative way of participation to the political life. And if it will be solved within Turkey, there is no need to counterattack to northern Iraq, I believe.
And do you think the military has a say? Where do they fit in after these elections? What would their next move be?
The military now, they should follow the democratic line, because now this is a huge success with the AKP, and the bureaucracy should follow the government, I believe, and they cannot deny this. This is a full win by the AKP. So they will calm down, I believe.
Amanda Akça-Koca, will the military respect the democratic process? Has this election been a vote of no confidence for the military?
I don't think that you could say it was a vote of no confidence, because historically Turkish population have always put a lot of trust in the military. In fact, it's the organisation that has been most trusted. But at the same time, I think that Turks have made it very clear that they don't appreciate the military interfering with civilian affairs. In this respect, I don't think that it would be very wise for the military, to repeat the so-called, e-coup of the end of April. It's not positive for Turkey. It's not positive for their relationship with the European Union.
Adibe Sozan, the AK Party has not registered enough votes to be able to change the constitution. And when the presidential elections come up, you're going to need some sort of consent with at least one of the other two parties. Are you optimistic that you can achieve this?
I am very optimistic, because our Prime Minister told us before election, and he would like to get the new way and for the election of presidency, and that's why I am very optimistic. It won't be any problem, and because we are taking care of Turkey's in peace, and also Turkey's stability. That's why, and we don't want to get any kind of chaos, any kind of crisis. That's, I guess I'm so optimistic.
Hasan Koni, are we facing another impasse if agreement cannot be reached on how the next president should be selected? Is that a possibility?
Well, there are always possibilities of this kind, but I believe nobody, no party will dare to have another elections after this election, because these results are too open, and there will be a conciliatory approach between the parties, I believe, and then we will proceed in the political life. And a second election will be a disaster for the party in the opposition and for the Turkish economy too. And this time there will be conciliation, I believe.
Amanda Akça-Koca, very briefly, ma'am, how do you see the political setup unfolding over the next 5 years?
Well, one would hope that the presidential elections will pass, quietly, as the two previous panellists just mentioned, that they'll come to a candidate, a mutually agreeable candidate. Then Turkey will be able to, start this new period, that they'll be able to continue the reform process vis-à-vis the EU that they started in 2002, that we'll see some really good reforms made. I mean, not just for the benefit of the EU, more in fact for the benefit of Turkey over the next few years, that we'll see, you know, the United States take a more positive stance regarding the Kurdish situation, regarding the PKK, that they will be more helpful as a government in Iraq itself should be, so that this whole will they or won't they military incursion issue could be dropped, that we'll see the economy continuing to grow, that we'll just see basically Turkey to become more democratic, the rule of law to be better, to be more freedoms, so that at the end of this period, Turkey has really become a country that's a good, powerful country in the world today.
All right, Amanda Akçakoca, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Dr. Adibe Sozan and Dr. Hassan Koni, thanks a lot for joining us, and thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of Inside Story. We welcome your comments and suggestions. Please email them to us at insidestory@aljazeera.net. Goodbye for now.